Hey guys, welcome back to the React Crash Course episode 6 and our final episode. In the last episode, we looked at the user effect hook and how we can load data when a component starts, how we can return functions to run when a component ends, and how we can update the state when something in our component changes. In this episode, we're going to look at the React Router DOM, which is the package you can use in order to navigate through your app, changing the URL and showing different components to your users. This is really going to make a big difference to your app and how you're going to be able to structure it in the future. So the library we're going to be working with is reactrouter.com, and we're going to be using version 6.3. Always worth making sure that you use the latest version and that you check the documentation. But in order to install this library, you can see here, we'll split the terminal. We just need to do npm install react router DOM, and we're going to do @6 to make sure we're on version 6. And I'll save that. If we hit enter, that will install the library ready for us to use. Now, the first thing to note with React Router DOM is that in order to use it, any component that contains routes or a route must be within a browser router component. You'll see here, there's these three main things we need to import. So we'll go ahead to our index.js and we'll import browser router from React Router DOM and hit save. And now the final thing we can do is wrap our app component in browser router. Pop that down there, just remove that strict mode. So now everything inside of our app is wrapped around browser router. I've misspelled that. Browser router, there we go. Just change that. There we go. So no errors. So anything inside of this can now have access to routes. So if we go back inside of our app.js file, now I'm not going to get too detailed in changing the app that we've currently built on this crash course to use routes, because I would need to move things like the forms and the filters into their own components, and most of this video would be spent doing that. So instead, what we're going to do is in our app.js file, we're going to import routes, route, and a final one that's named link from React Router DOM. There we go. So there are two ways that you can navigate using the React Router. The first is to create a link with a to parameter, and we could say / to go to the home page, and we could create another link with a to of / about. We could say that's the about page, and then we could create another link with to / team and hit save. And if we flick back to our page, so we can see we've got three items here now. And what we'll do is just so you can see visually what's going on. Put some spaces. So we've got home, team, and about. So if we click on them, we've got home, about takes us to / about, and team takes us to / team. But at the moment, we're not actually handling the routes themselves. We're just changing the URL. So let's go ahead just below these links and create some routes. So say routes, and within the routes component, we set a route for any URL changes we want to match. So the syntax is path equals / about, and we then define an element to show on the page once we find a match with that route. And in curly brackets, we could for now, in fact, let's just remove that a second. And down here, we'll create a const about equals, we'll create a new component, and we'll return a div with an h1 of about page. Okay, and let's just add some text in here. This is the about page. and then we'll copy that component, and we'll create one for home page. This is the home page. Okay. We won't create one for our teams link because we could actually use this team members component here. So I'm going to get an error for a moment while we just fix this code. So when we match the about route, we want to show the about component. And we'll close that off and just copy that down. So when we match just /, we want to show the home component. And when we show /team, we want to show the team members component, and we can now go ahead and remove team members from there. So if we hit save, we're on /team, so the team members are showing. So let's just hit home, and you can see we're on the home page. If we hit about, we're on the about page, and if we hit team, we're showing the team members component. Now, there may well be lots of times where you want to navigate once you hit a button. It might be programmatic changes you want to make, not these link changes. So what we'll do is, to show you an example, let's add a button in here with a type of button, and we'll say show team members. And on click, we'll define a function called show team members, and then we can go ahead and create that function. So const show team members equals, and in order to navigate programmatically, we need to use another hook of React Router DOM, which is called use navigate. There we go. And then we define let navigate equals use navigate, just to initiate that. And now inside of this function, we can simply call navigate /team and hit save. I'll recap exactly what we've done here in a moment. So now if we're on the about page, we could hit this button and we'll go straight to the team members page. So what's happening here is we've got the button saying show team members, which calls a function, and that function is using our newly defined navigate function. And navigate is an instance of use navigate. So again, to navigate pages, you can either programmatically use navigate, or you can simply set links. If you were creating a website with a menu, then the link option would be fine. But if, for example, we have our new team member form, and once the team member has been entered, you then want to navigate to the team members list, you would want to do that programmatically. The second thing that is worth mentioning about routes is you may not always know the static route. For example, we may have a route that wants to say view team member, and if we create an element here and we'll say let's just define a new one. So we'll create a new component for our view team member. View team member. Pop that in here. View team member. But viewing the team member. Oh, what's happened there? Right. Close that off. So viewing the team member, we will need to pass through the ID of that team member, and obviously it would be unworkable to create a route for every team member's ID. In fact, you wouldn't know them, especially if you were creating new team members. So in order to handle that, we can add a /:ID, and you can name this whatever you want. It could be team member ID, team key ID, you can pick, but basically anything with this colon is going to be matched in the URL. So if we say, for example, let's create a link, I think, and go to /view team member /3. So we'll say that's the fictional ID of the team member we want to view. Team member. Hit save. So we've now got view team member, and when we hit that, it takes us to view team member /3. Now, we're still showing the About page. Why are we still showing the About page? Because in the View Team Member component, we've not updated it. So we can say team member, and this is the page for team member, and we can pop in their ID here. So we're going to say const params equals use params, and use params is a library in the React router DOM. There we go, so we'll import that in. So now we have access to the parameters in the URL. We can simply go ahead and in curly brackets say params dot and then the name that we've given this parameter on our URL ID, and hit save. And there you can see team member. This is the page for team member 3. And as we pass through different IDs, it could be alphanumerical, hit save. There we go, view team member. So that in a nutshell is how you use the React router DOM in order to navigate through pages and decide which components should be shown to your users. You should now have all of the information you need in order to go back over this application and make changes that take advantage of routes for showing team members, filtering team members, adding team members, and even viewing team members, which is something that we haven't covered. But you should have all the information you need to go off and do that now. So that's it for this React crash course. You should now have all the information you need in order to start programming in React.js and creating your own applications. Make sure you hit the sub button to get notified when I upload more videos, and I've got some really great videos coming about things like React components and some of the third-party libraries that are going to save you a ton of time, especially when it comes to designing your components.